Perfect, guys. I am super excited. What an amazing video for us to end on, talking about the small disciplines. Today, we're going to be talking about principles, but a lot of it comes down to discipline. And so, guys, I want to just begin this call with gratitude. I think it's really, really funny. I was complaining earlier. I was like, man, I got sunburnt in Cabo. I just became homeless in Dallas because I Airbnb my spot. And now I was working outside. And I'm like, now I got all these freaking mosquito bites out here in Chicago. So I'm like, all these things are happening around me, but I'm still grateful. You know, I think it's the little things when I talk about gratitude that are so much bigger than the big things, right? We can't be grateful for the big house, the big trading accounts, all these big things if we're not grateful for the small things, you know, the ability to see, the ability to taste, the ability to touch, the ability to hear, the ability to walk, the ability to have more money than negative money in our bank account, the ability to do all these little things, have a car, have clothes, travel, learn this information. On the leadership call I talked about on Saturday, I asked the leaders, how grateful are you for the information that you have, right? How grateful are you for the information that you have, the trainings that you get, the Zoom calls that you get to go on, the go lives that you get to access, when there's millions of people around the world who are seeking what you know, right? Would kill for what you have. And I think it's those little things that makes the big things so much more cherished, right? And so one thing I've really been focused on, one thing I've really been, working on is just being grateful for those little things. And so, guys, normally in the past, I got this joke. I remember LeSavage, he goes, you know what? There's always two trainings I know twice a month that happens. If Tim's doing a training, Tim's either doing the 5 characteristics of a network marketer or an influencer, my bad, or the 5 characteristics of a chairman, or the 7 skill sets of a network marketer. But today's going to be a little bit different. I think today's going to be a little bit intense. Today's going to be, how do I say this? You're going to have a couple of realizations. And in all honesty, I think you may feel better leaving this call about your current situation that you're in. Today's training is not actually my own. When we were in Cabo, Lasaldo did this training and I was so blown away by it. I was just taking a crazy amount of notes. I rewrote it into my computer and I was like, this has to be the first training that I do when I get back home and I give to the team, because it's these little things that I was like, wow, that one line, that one statement was worth the whole entire trip. Now, we didn't really have to pay for anything. We had to buy the flight. But, that one statement, that whole entire weekend made sense to me. And that statement felt like, how do I say this? It gave me this like, I don't even know, like I felt renewed. I felt so good. And I want to give you guys this statement. I want this to be the first thing that you write down. So obviously at the top, right, the 7 principles of network marketing, right? The 7 principles of network marketing. But this is what I want you to write right below that. And this is really, really important, guys. This is a skill set training. This is a business training. I'm not going to be talking specifically about the technicals of trading. I'm not talking about axes. I'm not talking about NFTs. I'm not talking about anything other than, honestly, this is going to be more mindset, but I'm talking about business. I want you to write this quote down. I'll copy and paste it into the chat, but I want you to write this down. Your network marketing career starts when you D-rank. Your network marketing career starts when you D-rank. I think a lot of people think their career starts when they're in momentum, or their career starts when they pay the $16.71 for an IBO, or the career starts when they get their first sign up. But when that statement to me is so true, because what it means, right, at least from what my understanding of what it means is the moment that you lose what you've had is the moment that you actually learn, if you learned anything at all. Do you actually know how to retain? Do you actually know how to launch? Do you actually know how to prospect? Do you actually know how to duplicate? And it's so funny to me because a lot of the times people complain, well, why do I have to keep hopping on these trainings if we're talking about the same thing over and over and over and over again? But you get frustrated when you lose your rank or when people leave your business, but those things that we're talking about over and over and over and over again, those are the things that help you get back to where you're going, right? So today, I think it's okay to accept some of our businesses are not where we want them to be. Majority of our businesses are in retracements. And it's not just P600s and P1000s, it's chairmans too. Chairman 10s, Chairman 25, Chairman 50s, Chairman 100s, Chairman 250s. But here's the thing, is most chairmen, and I want to use that word broadly. I don't want to use it as a rank. I want to use chairman as someone who has a set of qualities of success, right? Most people that think this way understand that there's seasons in our business, like any traditional business, like weather, right? There's seasons. You're going to have warm seasons where everything's going right. You're going to have cold seasons where nothing seems like it's going right. But the question is when you're in that retracement, when you're in that cold season, where's your mindset at? Is your mindset staying in momentum? Are your actions staying in momentum? Is your thought process, the way you're speaking to your team, the way you're speaking to your prospects, the way you're speaking to your family, people that you're in relationships with, whoever it may be, are you staying warm? If not, that's probably why the cold keeps coming. It's funny because when you're in momentum, when people are in momentum, and I haven't gotten to the 7 principles yet, I'm just talking, I'm giving you a little preface here, right? You don't care when people leave. You're like, oh, well, you know what, Tim, Johnny left today, but I just signed up 3 new people. Oh, well, I had 2 people left today, but I just helped someone hit P1000 today, right? You don't care because nothing can go wrong. But your true nature, your true skill set, your true belief level, your true career is going to begin in that retracement. It's going to begin in that blown account. It's going to begin in that loss of business. Some of you who've been here for a long time, I look at some people in the chat like Johnny, like Ari, who else has been here with me for a long time? Like London, Lewis, Nancy, right? They'll tell you, drop a 3 in the chat if you agree with me that you really don't realize who you are, what your strengths are, what your mindset, where your belief level's at, until you derank, until you lose people in your business, until you blow that first account. So it's so funny. It's like, man, you lose 5 people, but it feels like 500. You lose 2 people, but it feels like 200. And there's the key, the secret word is it feels like that. It's not is what it is. It's only 5. It's only 2. And here's another secret for my P6s, P1s, P2s, P150s aspiring to move forward is if you're struggling with the feeling of losing 5, maybe the reason why you're not getting to the next level is because you're not emotionally stable enough to handle the swing of the daily 100 to 200 people. If I showed you guys my decline report, every single morning there's a minimum of 1 to 200 people that are in the decline report. Not because they're leaving the business, but some are, right? But because their cards have to charge that day. So if you can't handle the 5, what are you going to feel like when 100 go missing? When 200 people quit? When 10,000 people quit? I remember David Imoniti saying, he said, I can't wait till the day 1 million people leave my business in a month. Because he's emotionally stable. He understands what his value is. He understands where he's at, and he understands where he's going. So I think we have to begin to switch the way that we're thinking, right? Some of you have gone from P1 to P6, right? P2 to P1, P6 to P150. Or maybe you were customer 2 and free and both your people left. What if we say this? What if we went from, oh man, I deranked. I went from P2 to P1, so on and so forth. And you said, you know what? I just hit P1000. My next rank is P2. I just hit P2000. My next rank is P5. What if we went from, okay, cool, there's a cold season in business, but I refuse to be the outside circumstances. Because if I become the outside circumstances, I'm letting things that I necessarily can't control win. Guys, it's really funny because Lasaldo brought this up. He was kind of talking like, he wasn't talking down, but he was talking crap. He's like, you guys still have soldiers who want to fight the war. He said, you lost a rank. You didn't lose a company. He said, imagine making $25,000 a month. That was his rank in his last company. He was some rank. He was making $25,000 a month, and randomly the door shut. He wasn't able to access the back office. The income disappeared. All of his leaders were calling him. He said, you're being big babies. He said, you're in one season of time in the big picture. He's like, all you guys who call yourself traders, right, can't look at business as retracements the same way you look at markets as retracements. He says, you lost a rank, not a company, but because you think you lost everything, so does your team. So because the way you're operating now, what do you think your team is doing? He said, you have people who still want to fight. You have people that still want to go to war. You have people that still see the vision, because not everyone's going to, and that's okay. I know people who are in this for a year and they still don't see the vision. People in this for 2-3 years and they still don't see the vision. I have someone right now. No one knows his name, right? Because he's not involved. He's been paying. He was my first placement that got placed underneath me, right? I'm not going to say his name. Mike knows who he is. Nancy, I'm sure, knows who he is as well. And he's been paying every single month since October of 2016 and has not signed up a single person. And he's been paying every single month. Now, I mean, that says a lot about retention. That says a lot about the services. That says a lot about a lot of things, but not everyone's going to see the vision. You're having people, you're crying about people that are leaving that don't care, that don't want to do what you want to do. That's like owning that's like owning a vegan restaurant. And you're sad that the chef who only wants to cook steak dishes leaves. It makes no sense. It's the same thing in the business, right? So remember, guys, you're in control of how you feel. Let what's happening around you happen around you, but stay warm. Stay warm. So let's dive into this. I was speaking to some leaders on this call. I went a little long on that one, but I felt like some of you needed to hear that, whether that related to you in the business, that related to you in life, that related to you in your relationship, whatever it may be. I hope that related to you in some way. So let's talk about the 7 principles in network marketing. These are key. These are things that you need to focus on in this industry. If you want to be successful, you have to focus on these 7 things. I promise you. I know there's there's literally 50 different trainings, right? The 3 things you need, the 10 things you need. Regardless, these are things that you need that are going to help you. Number 1, right? You need to focus on relationship building. Guys, this is a business of relationships. I mean, honestly, everything is a relationship. You want people to come back to your mom and pop store? You got to build a good relationship with them, right? You want people to come back to your accounting firm? You got to build a relationship with them, right? So number 1, you have to build relationships inside of network marketing. You have to build them in person and you have to build them on the internet, right? You can't just message people on Discord and expect a relationship to be built. You have to go into their home, go into their market, go and meet their team. You have to actually learn about them. Right? You can't look at your organization as your downline or your people, right? You have to look at this as your team. Some of us message our team more of, hey, your subscription's due in 2 days, than, hey, how are you doing? How are you feeling? How is your family? How are your goals? So what kind of relationships do you have with your team? Right? You know, if you're a P150, P600, this is really easy to understand. Okay, well, I got 3 people in my business. I can evaluate. I got 12 people, 30 people in my business. I can evaluate. Maybe for P1s, P2s, P5s, and above, what is your relationship with your leaders? Do your leaders feel that you're always just coming at their neck, that you're always just telling them what to do? When you call them, do they not answer? Right? So really, you have to evaluate what is your relationship with your team. Number two, you have to daily build yourself as a leader. This is important. You have to build yourself as a leader. What is the easiest way to do this, guys? I love this quote, and it never really made sense to me till Lasalo talked about it. He said, success leaves clues. So what does that mean? Get around successful people. Get around leaders. Get around people who are at the rank that you want, who have the trading account that you want, who have the results that you want, who live the lifestyle that you want. Because if you watch them long enough, you hang around them long enough, you're going to start finding clues of the little things that they do to get those results. Remember, it's not about the big things that someone does. It's about those little things that they do every single day that got them that big result. That's why we're so heavy on DMOs. That's why I say if you can only do 3 things a day, you develop yourself, you plug into the system, and you expose 2 people a day. If you do that every single day and you duplicate that to your organization, you're going to be in a very happy place 1, 2, 3, 5, 10 years from now. Number 2 of this is you have to show up even when it doesn't benefit you. Even when it doesn't benefit you, because you never know what you're going to learn. Oh, well, I don't have a guest coming to the event, so I'm not going to show up. What if some speaker said something you never heard before, and that was the clicking moment for you? What if you saw someone share a testimony and it related to you? What if you met someone at that event who had the same passion as you, and you guys were able to align and work together and make something happen outside of IM as well? Right? You have to build yourself as a leader. This happens with personal development. This happens with getting around the right people. This is why events are so important. It's so funny to me, right? We have 400 plus people who went to, what's it called? SummerSlam. But then when the Houston, and let me get into this. We're going to get into this. We're getting into this right now. We have 400 plus people go to SummerSlam and say, no matter what, I'm getting VIP. I'm never not going to sit on the floor. I'm never not going to sit by the chairman. I'm all in. Yeah. And when I go look at the Houston chat for tickets, we got like 30 people on the English side from there. Success leaves clues. Number 3, build and rebuild your list. Let me ask some of you this question, especially those of you who've been here for a long time, right? I would say maybe 6 months or more. Those of you who are very serious about the business. When's the last time you actually got out a piece of paper or opened up a new note in your phone or laptop and wrote down names and numbers? Like, when's the last time you wrote a list? Every time I wrote a list, I'm like, oh my, and here's the point. I'll go back to text messages and I'll be like, I never even responded to this person. Shit, they asked me for the link and now they're in IM with some other team. Let me ask you this question. Let me ask you this one. Is there anyone on this call right now, and be honest, right? And drop a 6 if you would do this. If every single Friday you get paid, let's say $1,000 a month you get paid, you got 30 people on your team, would you split that $1,000 by 30 and give it to each and every single person on your team? The answer is no. Like, you shouldn't be doing that. Some of you would. Do it then. I challenge you. It's a great tax deduction. You won't make any money, but good tax deduction. So if you're not willing to share your check with your team, why are you relying on your team to build your business? If you haven't built a list, if you haven't signed a new personal this month, this week, today, if you haven't signed a new personal, they haven't hit P150, a new personal, they haven't hit P600. If you haven't, like, honestly, like, if you're a P600 and above and you're hopping on our weekly Sunday calls you should hit P150, if not every week, every single month. I don't hit it every single week, but I hit it every single month. Minimum. Guaranteed. right? Because I don't want to rely on other people. Like that was the number one thing for me. When I first saw the compensation plan, it was, okay, number one, who do I have to become to help this many people? And number two, right? Okay, I have to sign up all of these people by myself. Anyone else that comes in, I'm going to treat them like my personal regardless. But I knew from the beginning I had to take responsibility because no one was going to care for me like how I was going to care for me. No one was going to take care of my business like how I was going to take care of my business. Right? So you have to build and rebuild your list. I will be rebuilding my list either this weekend or early next week. And I'm just going to start calling. Next week is going to be a week of calling, just getting on the phone and calling. Just boom, 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 aggressively and just tenaciously calling people. Why? Because I know what we have works. Literally like who hasn't made money in options? Like who hasn't made money in crypto or Aviv or who hasn't made money in Forex? Like everyone is winning. Hashtag you should be winning. You already know the vibes. And so who am I? It's so funny. Like man, they're like, oh, well, I'm making a lot of money trading. I really don't want to build because $600 a month really isn't that much to me. Okay, well, that was a lot to you 3 months ago. That was a lot to you a year ago. And without this company, who the fuck would you be? Sorry, man, I told myself I wasn't going to swear. Who would you be? You would be nobody. You wouldn't know this skill set. You wouldn't have access to this community. You wouldn't be able to get other streams of income outside of this. Like, actually, you don't really don't understand. Like, all these other things we do outside of crypto really isn't part of I Am. But because of I Am, you found it. You ain't special. I'm not special. A lot of this stuff I find is because I just have conversations with educators. Like, I'm in Jordan Morgan's inbox. I message Zachary Hogan. I message Mike. Like, when I have e-commerce, I message Nancy. I go to people that are better than me so that I can get their results. So who am I to say, well, you know what? I made X amount of money doing this. I don't need this anymore. That's crazy, right? It's crazy. So number one, relationships. What is your relationship with your team? Number two, are you building yourself every single day as a leader? Number three, are you continually building and rebuilding your list? Number four, you have to increase your value. Well, you get stuck because you're at a value cap right now. That's something that I've been exploring with myself, right? It's like, I give a lot of value to the team. I give a lot of value to people inside I Am, but how much value am I giving outside of that? Like, how many Instagram lives am I doing? How many reels am I doing? How many YouTube videos am I doing? It is probably the exact correlation to why I'm not where I want to be right now. So you have to increase your value every single day. Part two of this is, does your team think you're valuable? Does your team think you're valuable? Do you keep your word? When you say, hey, I'm going to do this op call for you, do you show up? When you tell someone you're going to do their launch call, do you show up? And on top of that, do you help everyone equally? Or do you say, well, you know what? I'm not going to respond to this message because I need to focus more on my profit leg, which is like your smaller leg, right? Which really your smaller leg is always your PRSV. But beyond the point, leaders, you get it, right? So are you valuable to your team? Or have you lost value to your team because they think you don't value them? That's where the relationship comes into play. Oh, well, we don't really talk that much anymore. When it's probably, honestly, both parties. They think you don't care about them because you're not working with them as often because you're too busy over here. And we're not even going to get into it. We're not going to get into it. But you have to increase your value, right? Positivity. You have to grow in personal development. What is your self-image? What are you putting out there? Right? Here's a question that you should ask yourself. This is a very important question for you to go next level. And this is in regards to increasing your value. Would you sign up with you if you looked at your social media account today? Would you sign up with you if you randomly talk to you in the street while you're cold prospecting? Would you sign up with you? And if the answer is no, then it's time to increase your value. Number 5, right? Number 5, you have to expose 3 to 5 people a day. Normally I say expose 2 people a day. Lasaldo said 3 to 5 people a day. He says, this is the one thing that I have stuck to consistently, and he's been in this industry for a decade. I have exposed 3 to 5 people daily, not only daily, but individually. Not 5 people on one Zoom call, but individually, one-on-one, one-on-one, one-on-one. Imagine if you had 100 people in your business and all 100 people were doing one-on-ones 3 times a day, 300 exposures a day, 9,000 exposures a month, 10% closing rate, 900 people in your business. The math is simple. The things are simple, right? But ask yourself, when's the last time you met someone at Starbucks? Or you had a one-on-one at lunch or dinner, or you went to their house. I was with Lolly and Kim. They brought me to the airport leaving Dallas, and we went to Panera Bread, and I was kind of quiet for a little bit. And it's because I was having so many crazy memories of when I first started this industry, going to the Algonquin Panera Bread and doing individual meetings. Boom, boom, boom. You know how many Panera Bread points I had? I was getting so many free You Pick Two, so many free cookies, so many free coffees, because I was in there all the time. Boom, boom. Okay, cool. If I do my 1 o'clock at Panera, I can meet my 2:15 at Starbucks, grab a cup of coffee, and then I'll work a little bit at Starbucks, and I'll go do my 5 o'clock dinner at Panera. I was just going around. And they need to bring back that. I'm like, bro, y'all don't got the Baja mac and cheese? Even ask Taylor. That's where I introduced her to Cash. I used to live in these restaurants because it was one-on-one, one-on-one, one. Obviously COVID, but I get it regardless. When's the last time you one-on-one with the Zoom? See, everyone says they grind, but seriously, what's your definition of grinding? Because once you write it down and you say it out loud, you're going to realize that you really haven't done anything. And you probably haven't done anything for the past 2 years. Honestly, you probably haven't done anything for the past 2 decades. So you have to do those little things every single day. Number 6, a very important principle of network marketing is you have to learn how to solve problems. The more problems you solve, the more money you make. Whether it's team issues, it's personal issues, it's relationship issues, right? You have to learn how to solve problems. You have to learn how to become a problem solver. This is it. And this is the easiest way to build trust with people. I know I'm a very good problem solver. People come to me with a problem. They come with me with an issue. It's an email or this, that, and the other. I know exactly where to go because I knew that if I could solve people's problems, I was going to gain their trust. By gaining their trust, I would be able to train and guide them where I want them to go. Because a lot of the times people just hold themselves back. It's like, bro, what are you doing? But it's like with Mike. When Mike first got started in this business, he did not want to build. It took him 9 months to sign someone up. It was Austin. Freaking love Austin, right? 9 months to sign someone up. But I solved Mike's problems for 9 months. Hey, Tim, I did this. What's next? Cool, Tim, I learned this. What's next? All right, Tim, this is how I'm feeling. What would you do? All right, Tim, I'm struggling here. What's this? And because I built that trust, because I solved his problems, he then asked me, what do you think I should do next? And that then gave me the opportunity to say, Mike, you love educating people. Why aren't you going out there and educating the masses? And now look at Mike today. Mike is probably one of the most aggressive builders out there with Layla. Mike and Layla are the same. Most people think oh, I'll just go talk to Mike because he won't tell me to build. Mike will straight up tell you, I won't talk to you if you don't build. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy. I'm over here oh, let's take our time. The roles have completely switched. It's so funny. I'm like, let's do this together. Let's create this 90-day game, yada, yada, yada. And Mike's like, nah, fuck that. All in. What's your list? Right? It's crazy. But if I never solved that problem, his or mine, whomever, I would never have the opportunity to do that. We probably wouldn't be where we're at today without that. And number 7, the most important. I think this relates to something I talked about earlier. Today's a little bit shorter call. but that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm sure y'all don't mind that either. Is a big one. And I don't really notice this that often, especially with us, but I notice it in some things, right? I notice it in some people. Number 7, don't let money change you. And I think this statement is so funny because money doesn't really change people. I would say money amplifies, right? If you're a good person as is, like you're going to become a better person. Like if you're a bad person, you're going to become a worse person. Money just makes you more of who you are because it allows you to do more of who you are. And it's so funny to me sometimes when, you know, people are so bright-eyed and they want to help the world and they want to help all these people. And then all of a sudden they make a little bit of money in crypto. And they're like, nah, fuck that. I'm just going to focus on trading. You know what I'm saying? Like, money can change you for the worse. It can, right? I see this happen sometimes with chairmen, right? They're collecting $10,000, $12,000 a month, $30,000, $60,000 a month. They have all this money. They're getting access to all these different income streams because now they have more capital and more liquidity. And then they just forget about their team. I'm like, bro, like, I had to check someone like this before. I've had to tell someone like, listen, like, you couldn't do what you're doing today if it wasn't for your team. Like, I knew where you were before this. And I promise you, you wouldn't have access to any of this if it wasn't for your team. And it's the same thing for you guys. Like, you have to realize, like, we're not in a shake company. We're not in an insurance company. We're not in a coffee company or a lotion and potions company. Like, we don't have to build to make money. I get that. But that's what makes us different. That's what makes us unique and special in this industry. And that's why it's so important to go out there. You guys, are you guys like paying attention to anything that's happening in the world right now? And I got to be careful what I say because I'm recording this and putting this on YouTube. I can't really talk about this because, you know, rules, I guess. But like, do you guys really see what's happening? Like, you know, we're about to default. Like, we have like crises happening all over the world. Inflation is through the roof. Like, they're about to fire like 500,000 nurses in New York, like 500,000 federal workers across the US. Like, businesses are still going out of business. People are still on lockdown. Like, Australia is literally fighting their police every single day, like legit fighting their police. Like, police are beating them on the streets. Like, everywhere in Europe is still having protests. Like, maybe like get out of like, stop watching maybe like MSNBC, CNN, and Fox, all those guys, and like go on YouTube and go on Google and start looking around what's really happening in the world. And you'll see like we're fucked. We're screwed. Maybe not us, but other people are. And when you're 80 years old and you're laying on your deathbed, are you taking that money with you? I'm not. But I know when I die, I'm going to have that ability to say, man, I've helped tens of thousands of people take care of their family for generations. Like, it's funny with our group because our group makes a lot of money, guys. Like, we really do. Like, there's not like, we consistently make bread consistently in these markets. Some people are doing better than others. Some people are doing worse. I get it, right? That's a part of it, right? So it's a part of your journey. Kevin will tell you, Kevin's having 4-figure days every single day, but Kevin fucking sucked for a while. He struggled for a very long time. No results, blowing accounts. It is what it is. But what if he gave up? He wouldn't be having 4-figure dailies. This dude's now entries are 4 figures in options at this point. I'm just like, what the hell? Like, he's putting my whole entire account on one trade. But he would have never been there if Mike consistently wasn't on his ass about learning how to do this. It's the same thing for all of you. So guys, you have to focus on these things, right? Some of these have different, some of these are more important. Yeah, they're all important. Yeah, they're all important. None are more important than the other, but some may be more important to you right now. Maybe some of us need to work on our relationships. Maybe some of us need to develop ourselves as leaders. Maybe some of us need to focus more on being in phase 1. Maybe some of us need to increase the amount of value output because we have all these amazing things in our brain, all this amazing stuff in our heart, but we're not going out there and sharing it. Maybe some of us need to stop being so lazy and expecting our team to do everything for us. Maybe some of us need to get into the trenches and start solving some problems. And maybe some of us need to drop the ego and realize that money has changed you. And it's okay because you're aware of it now. So guys, I was super excited to do this training. I've been waiting to do this training since Cabo. I've been waiting to talk about this forever. I'm just super happy and grateful for each and every single one of you. I think we are in a very important time right now. Like, we are literally 2 days away from Q4. Like, I don't know how many people realize that, but we're 75% done with the year. And are you anywhere near where you wanted to be when you wrote your goals down on January 1st? Or are you in the same spot today? Really eat that one tonight. So guys, I love you. I appreciate you. I'm grateful for each and every single one of you. If you need anything, I'm always a message away. Chicago squad, I'll see you tomorrow in Elgin at the event. And then hopefully everyone else, I'll see you soon as well.